Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we tear into the sources that explain the world around you.
Today, we are immersing ourselves in a volume that is maybe one of the most polarizing and fascinating blueprints for influence ever written.
We're talking about Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.
And this isn't just a book, it's more like a manual on real politics. Greene spent years synthesizing, 3,000 years of history?
Right, pulling from everyone from Sun Tzu and Machiavelli to, modern power players.
And he basically condensed all of it, into these 48 laws on how you get and, how you use influence in life.
And the reach of this book is frankly astonishing. It's a massive New York Times bestseller, selling over 1.2 million copies in the US alone. It's a mega cult classic.
Oh, for sure. You hear it cited by CEOs, Hollywood producers, celebrities.
Jay-Z, Drake, 50 Cent have all referenced it.
And that's where you get this incredible contrast. On one hand, it's this foundational text for the ultra-successful.
And on the other?
On the other, it's one of the most requested books in American prison libraries, but it's also banned in several U.S. prisons.
So the very institutions that want maximum control are afraid of this knowledge.
Exactly.
That sets the stage perfectly. Our mission for you today isn't to judge these laws, but to really understand them. We're going to explore the core mechanics of power as Greene lays them out.
And it is unapologetic. It's an amoral strategy.
We'll look at the arguments for and against their use, and crucially, see how these ancient rules translate to our world today.
But before we get into the laws themselves, we have to establish the core philosophy here. Greene's argument is that power is amoral.
It's a game.
It's a game that everyone is playing, whether they admit it or not. He says the book describes the world as it is, not as it should be.
So for you, the listener, this knowledge has a dual purpose.
It does. It can be used for offense, to gain power, or for defense. It's an intellectual shield against people trying to manipulate you.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're starting with the foundational laws, the ones that govern perception and proximity.
Basically, how people see you and who you keep around you.
And we have to start with Law 5.
We must. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. This is the cornerstone. A solid reputation precedes you and does half the work for you.
But in the age of, instant digital information, a permanent record, how can anyone genuinely guard it with their life? One mistake goes viral and it's over.
Well, that's why the defense has to be so preemptive. Greene emphasizes that once your reputation slips, you are just constantly vulnerable.
And on the attack.
You move fast, you open a hole in their image, and then you just step back and let public opinion hang them. It has to be public, immediate. No time for them to repair it.
Building on that visibility, let's move to Law 6. Court attention at all costs. I mean, this sounds like the attention economy just decades early.
It is the ultimate anti-oblivion law.
Yeah.
What is unseen counts for nothing. It is, and this is a direct quote, better to be slandered and attacked than ignored.
So anonymity is the worst possible position to be in.
The absolute worst.
Okay, so the strategy isn't just about good press, it's about any press. But how do you keep that attention without becoming predictable?
You cultivate an air of mystery. Most people are completely readable, their intentions, their moods.
You know exactly what they're going to do next.
Exactly. So by holding back, staying silent, or just being deliberately inconsistent, you elevate your presence. You become enigmatic. And that's far more magnetic than, say, transparent sincerity.
Now, for the one that is, I think, the most difficult for people to swallow, Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies.
Greene is ruthless on this point. He argues friends are often more dangerous because they are so easily aroused to envy.
You think you're helping them out, giving them a job.
But it just changes the dynamic completely. Their expectations are different, and they'll betray you much more quickly if they feel slighted.
But I mean, surely a former enemy is just fundamentally untrustworthy, right? If they've betrayed someone else, how can you trust them?
Because that loyalty isn't based on affection. It's based on necessity.
Ah, I see.
A former enemy, when you bring them in, often has more to prove. They are far more likely to be dedicated than a friend who feels entitled.
So the rule is what? Keep your friends for friendship.
But hire for skill and competence, period. Regardless of history.
It makes a cold kind of sense. And finally, in this section on who you're around, we have the incredibly harsh Law 10.
Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky.
Ooh.
It's based on this idea that emotional states are literally contagious. The person who just creates turbulence everywhere they go will inevitably drag you down with them.
But doesn't avoiding the unlucky just mean you're abandoning people who are struggling? I mean, that sounds like terrible leadership. Where's the line between self-preservation and just being cruel?
The book frames this purely as essential self-preservation. It advises you to check their history. A long string of broken relationships, instability, drama.
That was like...
Huge red flags. If you associate with those defined by misfortune, you risk sharing their fate. This law is about keeping your own emotional landscape clean.
Brutal. Okay, so that's managing your image and network. Let's shift gears. We're moving into the more active, strategic art of deception and control.
And the foundation of all strategy is secrecy. We start with Law 3. Conceal your intentions. If people can't figure out what you're really after, they can't prepare a defense.
And the trick isn't just being quiet, which just makes you look suspicious. It's actually being loud about the wrong thing.
Precisely. You use decoyed objects of desire and red herrings. You talk endlessly about false goals to throw people completely off the scent.
Or use a smokescreen.
Even better, a bland exterior, or even a surprisingly honest, generous gesture. It diverts attention because people rarely expect simple honesty as a mask.
That subtlety is key. And it leads right into Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you.
Yes. If you want independence for yourself, you have to be needed. Your survival in any power structure requires that you are wanted, not just liked.
So you have to possess some unique talent or skill.
A skill that simply cannot be replaced. This is sort of the anti-mentor law. You never teach them enough so that they can function without you.
Be essential but never fully understood. Okay, from dependency, we move to tactical control with Law 31. Control the options.
Get others to play with the cards you deal. The ultimate deception is making the victim feel like they're in control, like they're making their own choice.
That false sense of control is paralyzing.
It is. A key tactic is to color the choices. You propose multiple solutions, but you deliberately present your preferred option in the best possible light.
Right, while making the alternatives sound chaotic or just disastrous. I can see that in management decisions all the time.
Exactly. And the more aggressive version is the horns of a dilemma.
What's that?
That's where you force the victim to choose quickly between two explanations or actions, and both of them serve your purpose. You deny them time to find a third way out.
They're trapped. But all these maneuvers are useless if the execution is sloppy. Which brings us to Law 35. Master the art of timing.
Yes. Rushing, according to Greene, always betrays a lack of control. Over yourself, over events, you have to seem patient. He outlines 3 critical types of time to master.
Lay them out for us.
First is long time. This is just strategic patience. You watch, you wait for the perfect moment, you don't react impulsively.
Okay.
Then there is forced time. This is when you upset the timing of others. You use sudden pressure, artificial deadlines to make them rush and force their hand.
So making someone decide quickly is an act of aggression in this game.
Absolutely. And finally, there's end time. This is the moment when the opportunity is ripe and you have to strike, fiercely and decisively.
Failing to act then is as bad as rushing in the beginning.
Just as bad.
Okay, these rules are drawn from history, but here's where the critique really begins. Some critics called the book nonsense because the laws seem to contradict each other.
Right, like Law 6 says be conspicuous, but Law 38 says to blend in. How can both be true?
So how do you reconcile that?
This brings us to what many people think is the most important rule of all. Law 48. Assume formlessness. The laws aren't contradictory, they're situational. If you have a rigid, visible plan, you make yourself a target. Power comes from being fluid, like water, able to change course based on the immediate situation. Formlessness is the meta-strategy that holds it all together.
That makes sense. Let's look at how a law gets reinterpreted for today. Take Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit.
Right. In the 21st century, just outright stealing credit it's harder. People complain online, they leave.
So what's the modern version?
It's more sophisticated. You leverage pro-social ideals. You frame their labor as being for the team or for a greater cause.
You make them want to do the work for you.
And you position yourself as the necessary beneficiary of their noble effort.
The sources cite Elizabeth Holmes as a perfect example of this. She got brilliant people to work crushing hours by framing it all around female empowerment or providing basic health rights.
While she took the lion's share of the benefit. And that leads directly to the big sociological critique of the whole book.
Which is what?
If everyone is concealing their intentions and leveraging ideals, what's the societal cost? Research suggests it creates widespread suspicion. It undermines the essential social contracts that hold communities together.
You get a breakdown of fundamental trust.
Exactly.
Okay, let's apply this idea of stacking laws to a modern political figure. The sources do this as an impartial case study of the mechanics, not a political endorsement.
And Donald Trump is a fascinating case study.
Analysts observe a clear, self-reinforcing stack, a kind of core loop.
It starts with Law 5, establishing that formidable reputation. A strongman, an outsider, a fighter.
Which feeds directly into Law 6, court attention.
He dominates the news cycle, often with inflammatory rhetoric, making him impossible to ignore.
And that constant attention reinforces Law 17, cultivate an air of unpredictability.
Precisely. The erratic behavior, the sudden policy shifts. It keeps opponents constantly reactive and off balance.
Which then lets him use Law 23, concentrate forces. He focuses all that attention on a few key emotive issues like immigration or the economy.
Unifying his base while his opposition is scattered.
And we also see Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew, using those derogatory nicknames to exploit opponent weaknesses.
Yes, and Law 9, win through action, not argument. Those bold executive orders projected strength.
But there's a tension there, isn't there?
A huge tension. Greene himself has critiqued this style, suggesting that over-relying on Law 6 for attention can be an abuse of the law. And those bold actions often invite high-risk legal challenges.
Like the 2025 court rulings against those university funding cuts, there's always a counter-reaction.
It's the ultimate tension in a whole system.
So we've taken the deep dive. We've looked at the core principles of amoral power, from managing reputation all the way to the adaptability of formlessness.
And we want to reiterate the most crucial takeaway for you. This knowledge isn't just about manipulation, it's about awareness.
Right, it's a shield.
You now have the framework to recognize when these games are being played against you, so you can protect your own interests.
To leave you with one final provocative thought, let's go back to Law 33, discovering each man's thumbscrew. That law says a person's fatal weakness is often rooted in an insecurity, an uncontrollable emotion or need, or their powerful need for validation and recognition.
So if that deep universal human need to feel important and validated is truly the best kind of weakness to exploit, what does that suggest about the power dynamics embedded in our most popular modern social platforms and institutions, which are designed to do nothing but constantly feed that need for recognition?
Something for you to mull over on your own. Thank you for sharing your sources with us for this deep dive.